Okay, this one's for Matt. Okay? So Matt, I can't think any easier way to do this. I don't feel like drawing the whole thing up. So, the magic number, 30 inches from front to rear. The track centers, two-inch. See how it all works out to be 2 inches on track centers. Okay? Now, you can take the area which you have, you look at some of that video on Silverville and the big flat sections of plywood. Take your butcher paper, go get you some butcher paper at Walmart. Cover it all with that, a marks a lot, and a big steel ruler. You can draw it all out first, and you can look at it for a couple of weeks and say, that's what I want, I don't want. Alright, so at one end of the thing coming out, and this is 36-inch radiuses, you come through the wall, that's 11, no, that's 9.5 feet down that wall. Okay? From one corner to the corner back there is 9.5 feet. So you come down here and you're going to get your 36-inch radius. That's the famous Apex Latex Company. How your tracks fall and everything is going to be up to you. You know, I don't know your space. Don't know what else is there. You know, you're not going to be making a loop back, or if it's a loop around a room, what. But coming into Apex, you have what I call the station track and the main, and then there's the two interchange tracks, yard tracks, storage tracks, whatever the railroad term you want to use for them. All that is on 2-inch centers. Where the switcher is sitting, the intermogul, you're going over to a 3-inch off what's the station track. That's a number 6. All these are number 6 switches. So where that gets taken off determines where the rest of it occurs. That's a 6 switch coming back. You know, that's a left, and then you have a right, and then a right going the other way. Then you go back to the back wall, and you come off the back wall 2 inches to the first track. Because everything on the back is flat, you really don't have any issues. I mean, that's a piece of foam core board with paper on it for the retaining wall. The track is going up a piece of 2x4 that was cut on an angle to make the elevation. You could do that with a piece of styrofoam. That all could be done with styrofoam. I just happened to have a piece of 2x4 that was cut and had the angle on it. I said, got it to a certain point when I needed the height to match and this is the old King Cole Coal Company thing, to create the ramp. So that's your various things, and then we have the tracks. And the tracks right here in the back, coming across the road. As you can see, the track is 2 inches off the wall, and there's 4 on the center. So it's 2-inch centers right there on the track. Then you come out here to the next track, just as kind of a general reference, it's 9.5 inches. But that's really determined about where it goes in on this track, because this track's determined by the angle of the frog, and you don't want to get into changing that angle. I think on a 6 it's a 13 point something angle, percentage point. So, because that keeps everything parallel with the wall. So that switch works in. The 2 inches, and how difficult you want to make it to service what track, believe me, that's up to you. You can make it a real switching nightmare and figure out. It's kind of what the Neocore Incorporated is. You got to go back in there. You got to line up the cars before, because technically, you can't go up the ramp with an engine. Can't get past a certain point. No engines allowed. So that sign hadn't been put up yet. That thing won't support an engine. So coming back, when we have the station track, and we'll get into the story on the LCL cars. It's just and that basically also serves as your runaround. Another left-hand 6 switch, and then we're going down the other side, working the other side of town, and we have the industries, and these are a little bit depth to it. So the track, that's because we didn't continue that track. That was 2. Now we're 4. This track becomes 4 inches, or a little bit more than 4 inches off the wall. So that's kind of got worked out. And just an example, I made that little foam core building to go in back there, because that's the Armstrong Tire Company where Glazer Wholesale is. And if you put it all the way against the wall, it was a long reach for the cars. So I had to fill in back there with something. That track was kind of determined by the buildings that were going back in there. And I think the real predominant one that dictated that where that track was going was right there. And that was the Peak Paper Mill. That was all kit bashed and cut down to make it, but I made it about as narrow as I wanted to get, and then I worked the track in, and then when it came back to here, it fell into that point. So, and again, how many buildings you have, total length of space, from that wall at the end to the wall down there. So let's stop a little bit short and say, you're looking at about 35 feet, because the building's 50. That wall is 40, because the office is about 10 feet. So coming back out to where the tunnel is, another 6-7 feet, 33 feet. Which, I don't think you're fooling with space is going to be that long. Don't know, but that's just how long everything's going to be and what you're going to end up with industries as far as that goes. Now, so we have a track in the middle of the let's see if I can see. This is the east side of town. No, it would be the opposite. This is the west side of town. So this is the west side switching area. And the track in the middle comes down to get to further down at other points. The first switch off is for tank cars. And I'm always going to put a pipe in there and some unloading hoses for detail, but you can detail the hell out of things as you go. And that's an unloading track for tank cars. And then a switch, it also gives me a switch runaround and a way to get cars out the back and service Peak Paper Mill by putting the switch across just for ease of switching. And we have our version of a chip-on loader. Again, you know, the idea here is we're really only modeling with things that the railroad touched. Didn't need to take space to put the big chip pile in, so we put all the chips back there behind the building. You see them back there. Well, not quite tall enough, but they're back there. Anyway, there's your peak paper mill, and those, of course, you know, paper being shipped out and whatever, packing material, plastics or whatever coming in, chips, cars coming in, mud cars for the paper, and the acids that you got to have. So that's all related to the one industry. And then at the end of that track, you know, you end up with the world famous Hoffa Cement Company. Still haven't gotten the sign up for the company motto, "We keep your feet in concrete." Now, tracks go on through the tunnel. You know, where yours go, no telling. They go around the corner here to pass in front of the door. But this is the setup in this area. And as you can look back, beauty of a camera, huh? Shot you don't see. Look up the track going back. You know, we've all seen this in industrial areas, which the railroads don't have anymore, where they're switching many industries out. Again, we're starting to cut back on space on the railroad, and we're now down to, where's my tape measure? There it is. This is 18-inch out to the scenery, and the main line is back at 14 inches. It's starting to bend in. That's going to the tunnel siding, and that's to the back of the step. So that track and services back here is at 7.5 inches off the wall, and the siding is still at about 4.5. So we picked up a 1/2 inch somewhere to get it further off the wall from where it was. And when a measure track, you always measure the centers. So, and of course that road, it goes there behind the building. There's a street back there behind the cement towers that all the trucks can get off the railroad. All right. One time there used to be a road across there, but they took it up. So anyway, that's what you asked for, and without drawing it out in too much detail, but at least you can take this link and sit there and play this back on your tablet or whatever as many times as you want to watch, as far as where it was done. Now, for my railroad, that station track's kind of short. As you know, fooling with this thing, you can't get a whole train in there, because train lengths on this railroad go out to 1,300 feet, because all the rest of the sidings are plenty long enough. So, you know, but you got your own situation, and I'm sure your trains are going to be a lot shorter. So. Only thing with 2-inch track centers is, you can see you're not getting your fingers in between there for work, okay? That's one of the issues. So I hope this gives you all the information you were looking for on Rock Ridge. There you go. Give you the old upside down shot. Okay, that's good.